Thank you. Today I will discuss about echo. What is echo? Echo is the repetition of sound, but it is not normal repetition of sound. It is the repetition of sound caused by reflection of it from some distant reflector. An echo is the repetition of sound caused by reflection from some distant reflector. Already we know the name of the reflectors of the sound: the big wall, mountain, hill, buildings. From those substance, when a sound gets reflected and comes back to the listener, then listener hear the repetition of the original sound, and it is known as echo. But we cannot hear the echo for the all sounds because of there is a certain minimum distance from the source of the sound or listener to the reflector. A clear echo can be heard if the reflector is more than a certain minimum distance from the source of the sound. If this minimum distance is not maintained, then we cannot hear the echo. Now, there are two types of sound. One is the transient sound and another is the syllabic sound. Transient sound means the sound of short duration, like as gunshot clippings are the example of transient sound. Our brain persists this transient sound for 1/10 seconds. That means when our brain receives this transient sound, then it retains that sound for 1/10 seconds. No other sound is allowed the brain to recognize it. This time is known as the persistence of our hearing. Now we calculate the minimum distance of the reflector for producing echo of the transient sound. The persistence of hearing is 1/10 seconds, and from the definition of the persistence of hearing, we know that to perceive echo, the minimum time interval between the original sound and the reflected sound should be 1/10 seconds. Minimum gap between the original and reflected sound. If it is more than 1/10 seconds, this time gap, then it will be okay. But if it is less than 1/10 seconds, then we cannot hear the sound, or we cannot hear the echo. Now, if the speed of the sound is taken 332 meter per second, then in 1 second, how much distance traveled by the sound? The sound travels 332 into 1/10, because the distance equal to speed into time. Speed and into time is 1/10 second. By calculation, we get it will be 33.2 meter. This is the distance. What is this distance? Here it is the source of sound and it is the reflector. Sound goes to the reflector and reflected and comes back to its place. This is the here the arrow sign there. So it is the going path and it is the coming path. That is, going and coming both distance will be 33.2 meter. Both means the total distance coming and going. Total distance is 33.2 meter. For producing an echo, the total length of the path travelled by the sound from source to the reflector and back should be at least 33.2 meter. Again, it is at least 33.2 meter. If it is more than 33.2 meter, it will be okay. But it will be not okay if it is the less than 33.2 meter. So going and coming total distance is 33.2 meter. So one distance, that means the minimum distance between source and reflector is 33.2 divided by 2, that means 16.6 meter, and it is the minimum distance to hear the echo for the transient sound. Transient sound means, again I repeat it, the more intensity in sound but less interval of time, like as gunshot clippings, like that. Now the another sound is the syllabic sound. Now what will be the minimum distance? Minimum distance of the reflector, of a reflector, for hearing the echo of the articulate sound. Articulate sound means is the syllabic sound here. An articulate sound means the sound of word having clear parts of syllables. Usually we can pronounce 5 syllables in a second. 5 syllables can pronounce only in 1 second. So what will be the time taken to pronounce 1 syllable? It will be 1/5 second, just by a unitary method. 5 syllables is pronounced in 1 second. 1 syllable is pronounced in 1/5 second. So now if the speed of the sound is taken 332 meter per second, here that not written, it is the 332 meter per second. If the speed of the sound is, then in 1/5 second, what will be the distance traveled by the sound? It would be speed into time. Speed is 332 into 1/5 time is equal to, after calculation, then you get it is the 66.4 meter. Divide 332 divided by 5, then you get this answer. So this is the distance. Say it is the source of sound and it is the reflector. What happens? The sound goes to the reflector and comes back to the listener or to the source. This total path is 66.4 meter. To produce echo of the sound of one syllable, the total length of the path travelled by that sound from source to reflector and back, should be at least 66.4 meter. So going and coming, this total path is 66.4 meter. So the minimum distance from source and reflector or listener to the reflector, it will be half of it. The minimum distance of the reflector from the speaker for monosyllabic sound, it will be 66.4 divided by 2, that means 33.2 meter. Now the conditions for occurrence of echo. Here first of all, reflection of sound must be occur from the hard reflector, so that reflected sound reaches to the listener with sufficient intensity to hear. Say if the reflector is soft, then when the light strikes the soft surface, then the soft surface absorbs maximum amount of intensity of the incident sound. So the least part of the incident sound is reflected back. So it is not sufficient, it has not sufficient intensity to hear. That is why we need a hard reflector. to produce the echo. Now number 2, the minimum time interval between the transient sound and its echo must be 1/10 second. That means original transient sound and its echo, the time gap must be 1/10 second. For syllabic sound, the syllabic sound and its echo, the time gap between them must be, it will be 1/5 second. Minimum time gap. It is a minimum time gap. It is a minimum time gap. Now, number 3, the minimum distance between the reflector and the listener for hearing the transient sound is 16.6 meter. And that for the syllabic sound or articulate sound is 33.2 meter. For hearing the echo of the articulate or syllabic sound, the reflector must be at a distance of 33.2 meter. For the transient sound, it is be 16.6 meter. Thank you.